A lot of talk today here in Denver, Colorado about Tommy Joseph's long pinch hit home run last night and Tyler Goedel's catch, which essentially saved the ball game. Joseph's pinch hit home run was the first game-winning pinch hit home run for the Phillies here in Colorado since...
Long drive into deep right center field. This ball is out of here. Matt Stairs with a two-run pinch hit home run.
Well, Matt did that during the course of his career quite often for the Phillies. This pinch hit home run was the first of the year. How about that? 3 days before the All-Star break and all the opportunities. This is the first pinch hit home run the Phillies had here in 2016. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Matt Stairs. Can't play that enough, can we?
No, that's nice.
I'm sure it's going to run the Phillies have had this year. And the Phillies do need that offense, and he's in the lineup today. But they really need Jared Eickhoff to continue to build on his fastball command. It's essential in this ballpark.
Well, it is. And the scouting report is that he has a very good curveball slider. His fastball command at times is not very good. And at times it's pretty good. When he misses bad. This is a ball right here versus the Atlanta Braves. Ibar hits a bomb to right field. It's supposed to be a fastball down and away. Overthrows a little bit up in the zone. Ahmed from the Diamondbacks. Fastball supposed to be well inside. It stays out over the middle of the plate and gets hit hard. So for a guy that's throwing 91, 92 miles an hour, that's what happens when you live in the middle of the strike zone. All the reds are base hits, the blues are home runs. Now there is a couple of pretty good red spots there. Fastball's low and away, fastball's out of the zone. But again, too much plate, and you need to hit your spots when you come to Coors Field, or else it's going to be a real long day.
Well, the opposition hitting 335 against his fastball, under 200 against the slider and the curve. All right, so this is when his command was good.
Well, it was very good because when you can see Cameron up, he wants the ball elevated, he wants the ball in. The good fastball, the good spotting fastball sets up the good slider and the swing and miss curveball right here, Freddie Freeman. I just thought he had a great tempo. He was hitting his fastballs. He was being aggressive, and that's the most fastballs he's thrown this year on the starts.
All right, well, that was his last start. Hopefully he can duplicate that here tonight against the Colorado Rockies. It is Game 3 of this 4-game series. Eickhoff will be opposed by Tyler Anderson, another first-round pick for the Rockies, making his 6th start since coming up to the big leagues. He's pitched very well here at Coors Field. Well, last night it was about the pinch hit home run, but it was also about some pretty good defense. Arenado, he's made some unbelievable plays already in this series. That was the game saver. Unbelievable grab by Tyler Goedel. When we return, we'll go to the CSN studios.
Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buy at Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phils. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. start. It's scheduled for 6:40 local time. There they come. The Rockies taking the field behind Tyler Anderson, who's got a whole bunch of rosin on the front of his hat. That's a lot of rosin. He's done a nice job, even though he's winless so far. An ERA of 3.03 and pitching well here at Coors Field. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Borges leads off. Odubel gets the night off. Freddie Galvis bats second. Michael Franco will hit third. Then Tommy Joseph back in the starting lineup. Bats cleanup. Jimmy Paredes will hit fifth and play right. Carlos Ruiz sixth. And the bottom third of Cesar Hernandez, Tyler Goodell, and Jared Eichhoff, and they will face the 26-year-old out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and the University of Oregon. 26 strikeouts and 29 2/3. Matty's one of 2 #1 picks in the Rockies starting rotation. We saw the other one last night. They also have a #2 pick or second-round pick in Chad Bettis. He's got a little funkiness to him when he comes to the plate.
He does. He has a little pause in his delivery. Take a look at his scouting report. He's not an overpowering left-hander. He throws about 90, 91 miles an hour. They say he adds and subtracts very well. He's a very smart pitcher. He is a 4-pitch pitcher. And the leg this year versus his fastball, 200. So he spots his fastball very well.
They're hitting a .154 against his cutter over his last 2 starts. So he'll face Peter Borges, Freddie Galvis, and Michael Franco to start things off. This is game 3 of this 4-game series. And with that, it's time for our Nissan keys to today's game.
Well, key #1 for me, I think it's important for Eichhoff just to establish a fastball early in the game, locate it well, low and away, up and in, whatever you need to do. And Phillies hitters don't get pull happy versus Anderson. He's a guy Tom mentioned his last 2 outings. His cutter has been very good. Now he's made the adjustment. His first 3 starts, he threw 50% cutters inside to right-handers, leaving the ball out over the plate. Now he's doing the backdoor cutter. He only comes in there about 35% of the time now. So if you start getting pull happy, you're going to pull off the changeup and you're going to pull off the backdoor cutter.
Well, Peter Borges will lead things off. You see what Borges has done over his last 25 games. He's batting .276 with 4 homers and 18 RBIs. Pete McCadden decided to give Borges the start in the leadoff spot tonight, and Odubel gets the day off. First pitch of the game is in there, according to Jerry Meals. So we're underway, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Officially 6:42 local time. Borges waves at the off-speed pitch. Borges has reached base safely, or has hit, I should say, in 16 of his last 17 ball games. He's reached base safely in his last 19 games. And how about this? Since June 1st, Peter Borges ranks 1st in the National League in average and in Major League Baseball, and then 1st in 3 other categories in the National League. He goes down looking on strikes, and there's 1 away. But he's 2nd in some other categories to the likes of Mike Trout, Ryan Naquin of the Cleveland Indians. And that's all of baseball as far as outfielders go.
A lot of doubles, a lot of triples. He locked it in, that's for sure.
Well, he's down looking for out #1. Freddie Galvis bats second. Galvis 4 for 7 in the series. Well, we talked about it in game 1. We talked about it in game 2. At this point in the day, with the bright sunshine, it's going to be a little difficult for the hitters to see right out of the chute. The lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Mike Borzillo of Deptford. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game. Mike will win $100. Stop by McDonald's today and enjoy the new McPick 2 for $2.50 menu. I'm loving it. Murph, do you know Mike Borzillo of Deptford, New Jersey?
No, I don't think I've run across him in Deptford.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll keep my eyes open for him.
Yeah, now that you know that he's,
now that I know he's
participating in contests. 2-1 to Freddie Galvis. Line drive foul. Folks are still in the sunshine over there. I'm not sure if they saw that ball coming.
Get the thumbs up from the usher. Or field security, or
well, hopefully she's okay. She's got the baseball. 2-2 to Galvis. Way outside, 3-2. Anderson was a first-round pick in 2011. He was the 20th pick overall. That was the same draft that featured Garrett Cole, who was the first overall pick by the Pirates. And it also featured, with the 14th pick in the first round, one Jose Fernandez. Arenado throws out Galvis, 2 outs.
Man's nice and relaxed at third base. Just nonchalant, isn't it?
Very casual.
Getting in the right angle. He takes a couple extra steps to avoid the sun.
Yeah, Mark Reynolds over at first base was concentrating on that throw. Freddie Galvis is slowly going back to the dugout. That's why there's a little bit of a delay. He's finally back there. And here's Franco. And Franco went around with his upper body. 0-1. Franco 17 home runs, 49 runs batted in. I don't think they're seeing it right now.
Nope. They're not. You know, and the Rockies do play here a lot. Now they don't get used to it because it's hard to get used to.
Inside 1-2. The way this ballpark is set up, you used to be able to see in the first and second levels the Rocky Mountains. Now they've put up a lot of apartments, so that's sort of blocked, but in the upper deck you can see them pretty clear on a crystal clear day. Over the dugout and out of play, 1-2. Tonight's game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box. A high fastball. By the way, the other picks in that first round include Sonny Gray of the A's, George Springer of the Astros. Springer was the 11th pick in the first round that year. 2-2.
I was wondering when I was going to see a changeup. They've thrown 3 fastballs in a row. Fastball is not the issue. It's picking up the spin of the baseball. So of course the changeup has the same rotation as a fastball. It's hard to pick up.
So back-to-back changeups.
Back-to-back changeups.
And it's full 3-2. Franco does have 3 hits in this series. He also has a couple doubles as part of that. Staying alive, he shoots it to our right. Walt Weiss's team 39-47, 8 games under 500. That matches their low for the year. Franco's seeing everything here. This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat. Walt Weiss was criticized in the local papers after last night's ball game.
That's saying it nicely.
Yeah, about how they termed it his mismanagement of the game. That one is back toward us. And it remains 3-2. Sorry, Matt, I leaned over your line.
That's all right.
The dividing line where
You're protecting me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Me protecting you. Story throws out Franco. So it's a long first inning pitch wise, but it's a 1-2-3 inning. Well, to the bottom of the first, it's the Rockies nothing, or the Phillies nothing. Rockies coming up. there, half of the first inning. Jared Eichhoff set to make his first start here at Coors Field. Here's the lineup he'll face today, brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Blackman, LeMahieu, and Arenado. Carlos Gonzalez, who's now a starter in the All-Star game, he'll back cleanup. Trevor Story hits fifth. Daniel Descalso makes another start in left field, his second. Mark Reynolds hits seventh. Tony Walters, the catcher, bats eighth, and batting ninth and pitching is Anderson. And they'll face Eichhoff, who's 26 years old, from Evansville, Indiana. 6-9, but an excellent ERA. He fell into a pretty deep hole in the loss column early on, and he's trying to climb out of it.
Called run support early, he wasn't getting it. He did go his last outing, the longest of his career, a little over 7 innings. Scouting report, good velocity on his fastball, 91.1. He will hit 93 at times, 4-pitch pitcher, and you can see what he's done over the last 3 starts. He's 2-0, with a 2.41 ERA.
18 quality starts in his 25 career starts. That has not been done since Robin Roberts and Art Mahaffey did it. How about those two names to be listed next to? Inside, 2-0 to Blackman. Blackman does have 4 hits in this series. He's hitting .308.
We talked about his last outing versus the Braves, having good location on his fastball, using a lot of fastballs. You know, in the season, he's 53.4% of the time he throws a fastball. His last outing, he was up to 63%, which is nice.
Into the Rockies dugout, and it pinballs around. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I'm going to be the stat guy today. I'm throwing some numbers at you, Tom, today, and fans.
Well, do you like the fact that he threw the fastball that much of the time, or does it matter?
I love it, because as a hitter, you're thinking, okay, it's going to be a fastball. Okay, oh, no, now it's a slider or a curveball, where if it's 50-50, pick your poison.
Fly ball to right field. Paredes got a real late start, but he recovers. I don't think he saw it right off the bat. 1 out, and DJ LeMahieu's coming up. Well, the other storyline for Eichhoff is the amount of times he uses his slider.
Right. And
will he use it more tonight compared to the curveball?
Well, how many fastballs did you see? 4 good fastballs. Now all of a sudden you come with a slider. What happens? You're going to cheat to get to a fastball.
Right.
The front side leaks. That's what happens. That's why I love a good located fastball. Like that one right there is perfect.
Good spot. 0-1 to LeMahieu, who is 4 for 10 also in this series. LeMahieu in the last 25 games hitting .385. .53% fastball for the season, 24% curveball for the season. The slider's up to 16%, but in June it was at nearly 24% of the time. Runs outside, 2-2.
A lot of times hitters will come back in the dugout and say, I thought you said he's a slider curveball guy. That's what you want. Hitter starts thinking.
Well, not much you could do there. He threw a decent pitch. LeMahieu just stayed with it. And a 1-out single.
That wasn't a bad slider. Location was, if anything, it might have been up just a hair.
Well, that brings Arenado to the plate. He was hitless in last night's game. He's 3 for 9 overall in the series. He is second in the league in home runs, first in the league in RBIs. And his average at .287.
Good velocity tonight on the fastball.
Here are the major league ranks for Arenado. As we mentioned, he's tops in the National League in RBIs, but he's tied for second overall. Tied for third in extra base hits. Foul ball on a slider, and it's 0-2. Talking to Pete today, this is where he would like his pitchers to improve. When they get to the count 0-2, he would like them to just put the hitter away. I was talking about Velasquez last night. He got to 0-2 a lot, and there were times he just couldn't put him away. He said the first month or so of the season, 6 weeks, we were putting those guys away. Down the right field line, that'll go out of play.
Now, putting guys away, you're not. I mean, Pete's not referring to a striking guys out.
He's just looking to get it out.
Right.
In fact, that's probably the wrong term for me, saying put him away, because usually that means strikeout. You're right.
I mean, no. It's the term that you use to put away. You know, a put away pitch is something that you're going to get a ground ball or weak fly ball
on. You talked about locating the fastball. For Eichhoff, it may be locating the slider even more.
Right, or maybe not climbing the ladder and wasting a pitch up out of the zone.
That's part of it.
Trying to throw that nasty slider 0-2 where you never give it a chance to be a strike. Or how about making a nice quality fastball pitch inside down the zone.
Fastball up and in, 1-2. You saw the numbers for Eichhoff, the opposition hitting .202 against him when the count is 0-2. Carlos Gonzalez waits on deck. It's over our heads, and it remains 1-2.
Haven't seen a curveball yet, have we?
Have not. Just saw a curveball, Matt. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Miami defeated the Reds 4-2. Adam Conley gets the win. Giancarlo Stanton an RBI single. Martin Prado an RBI double. For the Reds, Adam Duvall, who is in the home run derby, hit his 23rd home run. What a story he's been.
Remarkable.
Swing and a miss. He went after a slider that was whipping out of the strike zone.
Well, there you go. There's your put away pitch. Just took about 3 or 4 extra pitches. Good slider right there. Tight rotation. You can see how far this outside it is. But again, it started on the corner. And he could have been sitting fastball, and then all of a sudden you get that little wrinkle in it, and you panic a little bit, and you get those type of swings.
Here's Carlos Gonzalez to bat, and Gonzalez takes a tad inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Carlos Gonzalez among the leaders all-time in hits for the Rockies. He's got 1,084. Going to be really hard for him to catch Todd Helton. Todd Helton finished with over 2,500 hits, has his number 17 retired. I don't know if Cargo is going to be around long enough. He may even be gone this year. Although he did say yesterday, before the ball game, that he has no intentions of seeking a trade. Todd Helton certainly is not forgotten. His number 17 is all over the place. It's up here on the press box level. There's pictures everywhere of him, and he even has his own burger place.
to the right side. Cesar Hernandez takes a nice comfortable hop. And that'll do it for the Rockies here in the first. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We've completed 1. It's on to the second here in Colorado.
Colorado, no score between the Rockies and the Phillies. And we got some news on Aaron Nola today, guys. As you know, he threw a simulated game. Obviously, his last start being skipped. Did throw a simulated game today. When we got to the ballpark, Pete McCannon told us today that he threw a no-hitter in his simulated game. I talked to Aaron after that. He said, well, he probably let up a couple of hits. But the good news is he came out of it feeling healthy, both physically and mentally. And he did tell Todd Zielecki, who's here, and Matt Breen, who are here covering the team, that July 18th is the day that he will return to the rotation. That is game number 4 out of the All-Star break, and it is against the Miami Marlins at Citizens Bank Park. So that's when he expects to return to the rotation. But you know, he talked a little bit about just the way he's felt about this entire process, and he said ultimately he hopes it's going to strengthen him physically. He's going to feel better when he gets out there on the mound in Philadelphia and be able to kind of right the ship that went a little south on him over the last couple of games.
Apparently he will throw another bullpen session. Murph, what did Pete say? Friday, right? When Phillies get back from the break? Yeah,
he threw one a couple of days ago, and then did the sim game today, and then another bullpen just to keep that arm loose and keep it stretched out. So should be ready to go on the 18th.
He was hanging in the dugout with us before the ball game, and he does seem fine. Mentally, he seems very fine, and that's a good thing. And physically, he reiterated that there has not been an issue physically. I reminded him we were at the aquarium yesterday, and there were a bunch of LSU fans that entered the room after we were done. That ball is hit out toward left field. It's well hit. It is gone. Solo home run for Tommy Joseph. He's hit in 5 straight. 3 home runs during that time. And the Phillies take a 1-0 lead.
I think it's safe to say that Tommy Joseph loves hitting in this ballpark. 2 for 2 with 2 home runs on 2 identical pitches.
It's funny that it didn't sound like it was gone. It didn't look like it was traveling like it was gone.
It was crushed. Just look at this location.
Oh, yeah. Makes a winner out of Mike Borzillo of Deptford, New Jersey. Won $100 in the McDonald's home run jackpot.
That's the cutter grip right there. So Murph, you know where to look for him now. McDonald's.
Yeah, spending his $100.
Here is Jimmy Paredes. Anyway, tried to tell Aaron Nola that there was a group of folks not with the group from Philadelphia, but they were from Baton Rouge. They came in looking for Aaron Nola. Said he wasn't there. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike to Paredes.
Now you notice, minus that last swing, but you're starting to see some better swings because the shadow now doesn't exist. The pitcher and the hitter are both in the shadow.
Tommy hit that home run last night. You pointed this out, Matt, that the last guy that he saw was Ryan Howard, who gave him a big hug.
Big old bear hug.
Off to the right, now to play, 2-2. Well, Tommy Joseph provides our Geico quote of the day on last night's home run. He said, no doubters, you don't feel them. You just get to watch it. And for it to stay fair, even better. On the other side, Jake McGee, he said, most of my career I've stuck with my fastball and never got beat by my secondary pitch, or rarely got beat by my secondary pitch. He said, I should have stuck with my fastball last night in that situation. It lost the game and kind of spoiled Gray's outing.
Kind of spoiled, or did spoil?
He said kind of.
And it crushed it. I mean, we're used to seeing McGee last night, upper 90s fastball. I totally agree. I hate when pitchers have overpowering fastball and they get beat by their second best pitch.
With one out, Carlos Ruiz is the batter. Carlos has not played in this series so far. Takes low. Making his 34th start of the season. Good numbers here at Coors Field. A little late. There was a waitress, you can see her with her back to us. The ball hit the net right behind her head and startled her. There she is. That's why she didn't drop any of the food.
She's a pro.
Two and one.
Now the scouting report on Anderson is when he's behind the count like this situation here, he loves to throw changeups, but he hasn't had a good control of his changeup tonight.
That ball's rocketed over toward Arenado. He knocks it down. It leaked out of his glove for a moment, but there are two outs. Friday, August 12th will be the start of Alumni Weekend, brought to you by Toyota at Citizens Bank Park. A commemorative print will be given out to all fans on the first night. That's when Jim Thome will go into the Wall of Fame. The series wraps up on Sunday, August 14th. The Toyota Phillies Wall of Fame Fathead, free to all fans. Tickets can be purchased for that series against the Rockies by going to Phillies.com. Folks from the Phillies road trip are here, and I'm sure we'll be at the many of them will be at the Wall of Fame ceremony.
They had to be very happy to see a win for them last night.
Yeah, because many of them were in Chicago.
And Pittsburgh.
And Pittsburgh. Cesar Hernandez is going to get another bunt hit. That is the 15th bunt hit this year for the Phillies. Second in the National League in that category. And Cesar has a majority of them. That is his 8th bunt hit.
And honestly, this team, the way they were built around spring training, should lead the league in bunt base hits. You teach about putting the ball on the ground. Freddie Galvis should have more base bunts, bunt knocks. Cesar should. Goodell should. A lot of players play Goodell, deep. They play him back.
Tyler sees his playing time diminished because of the play of Peter Borges in right and Cody Ashley for a good part of the last 2 weeks of June in left field. But getting a chance to start against the lefty after his game-saving catch last night. Cesar just gets back.
By the way, Cesar Hernandez is hitting .292 now. .292.
Can you hear me, Tyler?
Up and away, 2-0. Well, part of that is that Cesar, over his last 12 games, counting this one, he's hitting 11 of 12. He's hitting close to 500 during that time. Anderson's got him going back to first base, though, with each pitch that he's got throwing. Jared Eichhoff is on deck. Let's see if they can capitalize on these command issues that Anderson has.
You know, I actually thought the pitch prior to that, the 2-1 count, he was staring in, getting a sign, shaking off a few times that as a base runner should tell you that he's not going to do a pickoff. That there, you get the sign real quick and threw over to first base.
Cutter goes. Pitch is on the outside corner. Backdoor cutter. Matt talked about it, how he's throwing that more over his last couple of starts. He gets Goodell looking, but the Phillies get the lead. Tommy Joseph has homered in back-to-back games. 11 on the year. 1-0 Phillies as we go to the bottom of the second. And we begin a two-part feature on New Eagles safety Rodney McLeod. Learn more about McLeod's background and why he's looking forward to playing in Philadelphia. Watch it all on Sportsnet Central Sunday at 10 p.m. Fireworks after tonight's ball game. Here at Coors Field, they kind of do what they used to do at the Vet, and they allow the people out in the outfield to just come out on the field and sit down with blankets. That's what they used to do on the turf at the Vet. John DeSangro, our associate producer, reminded us today that the folks in the 700 level used to be able to come down to the carpet and watch the fireworks. That's what they do here at Coors Field. So it takes a little bit of time. Sang also reported that the fireworks show was excellent last night. 0-1 pitch to Story, fouls it back. It's 0-2.
I'm not very happy with Sang.
Why?
Because he's got me back-to-back days on stump questions.
Oh. I think you got a chance with tonight's Jeep Stump fans, though.
You seen it?
I have. 0-2 pitch coming to Story. Fastball foul tipped. Strikeout number 2 for Eichhoff. And with one away, here's Daniel Descalso.
I love it. Good location of the fastball. Shoots one at low and away. Good spot.
Eichhoff now with 93 strikeouts on the year. He has 93 strikeouts and 105 innings of work. Throws a slider that sweeps in. It's 0-1. It's been a nice run for Descalso. He spent some time in the DL this year. Back-to-back sliders, which we talk about him increasing the number of sliders he's thrown, Matt. It's definitely increased against the left-handed batters in June and July.
Oh, well, he knows that it's a good slider down and in is what you call the wipeout slider, the put-away slider. You know, April and May, he was throwing more curveballs to left-handers. He was only throwing 5% fastballs. This one here's a fastball inside, but right off the calf.
That's going to Charlie horse at some point, probably about 3 a.m.
But what he's done in the month of June and July is now all of a sudden he started throwing the slider 17.5% of the time. So he has a lot of confidence and he's trying to throw the slider, which I would assume right here, back foot to a left-hander to get you to swing over top of it. Fastball away.
Just misses away, 1-2. Changeup.
That was 0 for 3.
Well, I think it shows the improvement in his overall game.
Yep.
That he's throwing the slider more against lefties. Like right there.
And that's a good pitch. And if he doesn't hit a ball off his calf, 2 pitches prior to that, he probably swings at that.
Cesar Hernandez waits. Second assist for Cesar in this ball game. 2 outs. So Eichhoff, the opposition is hitting just 153 against his off-speed pitches, well below the major league average. Kershaw has been lights out before he went on the DL. Carlos Carrasco, the former Phil prospect, he's been very good. And Jose Fernandez, well, you're so geared up for that fastball that when he throws something other than the fastball, sometimes you don't get rolling and you can't hit it. Mark Reynolds takes low.
You know, at times, Eichhoff's cutter or his slider looks like a little natural cutter. Changeup to a right-hander.
Element of surprise to Mark Reynolds.
Note to self.
So he's going to get a slider here. No, fastball hit the opposite way toward right. Paredes looks to see where he is. Almost lost his bearings, but he tracks it down. And a 1-2-3 second inning for Jared Eichhoff. A strikeout, a ground out, and a flyout. We'll move to the third. Phillies, thanks to Tommy Joseph, lead it 1-0 over the Rockies. Fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, the question is, which Rocky made the All-Star game in the team's inaugural season in 1993? Answer will be revealed in just a little bit. You do know that one, right? All right, he's writing. Looks like we're playing match game or something. Matt has submitted his answer. The light has gone on. Top of the third, Jared Eichhoff will lead it off. Eichhoff hitting 167. It'll be Eichhoff, Peter Borges, and Freddie Galvis for the Phillies. Eichhoff was given the take sign, and he takes. It's 2-1. So far, there have been 4 3-ball counts by Anderson against the first 8 hitters. Out to shallow left field. Story goes out. Descalso comes in. 1 out here in the third, and that brings Peter Borges to the plate. Borges batting leadoff tonight. We mentioned Odubel Herrera has the night off to start. He took batting practice today with the bench players. Cameron Rupp is part of that group as well. Pete said, let's face it, he's not swinging well right now, and he fouled a ball off his foot, and he's really sore. So with a lefty on the mound, we'll give him a day and see if he can get it back tomorrow. Pete was asked, will it jeopardize the All-Star game for Odubel? And he said, no, not at all. Outside corner, 0-2. And a line drive caught by LeMahieu. 2 outs. Well, Phillies baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Freddie Galvis grounded out to Arenado his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Not that Freddie's a home run hitter, but how about the fact that his last 18 career home runs have been from the left side of the plate? He's not hit a right-handed home run since 2014 against Gio Gonzalez. Now again, he's not a home run hitter, but 4 of his first 6 home runs were right-handed. His natural side.
No, he's not a home run hitter, but he is a gap power guy.
Right past Juan Samuel, 2-1.
Speaking of gaps, if he can hit a line drive, didn't I say this the other day? If he can hit a line drive just to the left of Story, that's short, he'll run forever.
Right, because Blackman is shaded over toward right center field.
Yep.
It's interesting. I wouldn't have thought the spray charts would dictate that, but as you even mentioned in game 1, it also depends on how the pitcher is going to pitch Freddie Galvis.
Right. Well, the scouting report on Freddie, though, on lefty and righty, is a pull hitter.
Right. Infield and outfield. There you go, Matt. Out toward left center. Now it wasn't hit sharp enough. And Freddie, though, is thinking about 2. He takes a wide turn. That is his 5th hit in this series.
Good swing. Pitch up in the zone. Which he's got the open stance, foot down, double toe tap. Line drive. A lot of movement, and when it's going well, it goes well.
His average is up over 230. And now Franco is up. Franco grounded out to short his first time up, and it's 0-1. Takes a cutter for a strike. Over to third, foul ball. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Braves and the White Sox are going at it. White Sox win it by 1, 5-4. Todd Frazier, a 2-run home run, his 25th. Jeff Francoeur, a 2-run home run, his 4th. And Freddie Freeman hit a solo shot, his 16th. That ball gets away and it hits the umpire. It rolls up the right field line. And Galvis, he was trying to draw the throw.
He drew it.
Unfortunately for the Phillies, the umpire is part of the playing field. If that ball had gotten past the first base umpire, Tom Woodring, Freddie probably would have gotten a third. Boy, that wasn't even close to Mark Reynolds.
It just looked really awkward. If I was a betting guy or a guessing guy, I would say that he's probably never done that move before, by the way it looked.
Big time. Galvis is going to third. Pitch is swung on a miss. He threw a changeup to Maikel Franco. And that's his second strikeout. Phillies leave one in scoring position. Will lead for the third. It's 1-0 Phils. Dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer. Visit DelValHondaDealers.com. By Jefferson. Call 800-JEFF-NOW or visit jefferson.edu. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Day number 3 here in Denver, Colorado for the Phillies. Series wraps up tomorrow. It's a 4:10 Eastern Time start. A bunt toward third, barehanded by Franco, flips to first in time. Walters nearly got in the way of Tommy Joseph on that throw.
So we talked the other day, 2 very good third basemen make this play look very easy. That's a tough play because the ball's going towards the line. And you really got to throw off balance. That's a great play, though.
Looked like it was rolling off his palm.
That's a collision you do not want to get in with Tommy Joseph.
No, because his foot was awkwardly planted as he was trying to stretch. Oh, we've seen Arenado do that in this series, and now we've seen Franco do it. To the right side, and the first major league hit for Tyler Anderson is a base hit to right field against Jared Eickhoff.
here in the bottom of the third. He is now 1 for 11. They just put it up on the board, and the crowd is acknowledging it.
So you think he's probably saying, Tommy's probably saying, hey, congratulations on your first knock. By the way, I crushed your cutter. It's actually a pretty good swing right there.
It is.
Upper body swing, but.
Charlie Blackmon flat out to right his first time up. Blackmon was on the DL a little bit this year. He had turf toe. Taken off on the 29th of April. Down the right field line. Foul. Well, sometimes they hook. Although he was so far out in front of that one that
I don't think he had a chance to go fair.
No chance to do anything but go to that area. Blackmon is the kind of leadoff hitter that can do that. He's got pop. 12 home runs this year. And he pulls it into right field, a base hit. Anderson will stop at second. First and second with one out. Fifth hit for Blackmon in this series. And DJ LeMahieu's coming up. For strike one, it's 0-1. LeMahieu, during the last 25 games, we mentioned he's hitting nearly 400 during that time. He has 6 3-hit games and 7 2-hit games during that span. That's hot. On the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Excellent numbers for a second baseman. He's also one of the taller second basemen at 6'4".
Big man.
Curveball hit toward third. Franco will go to the third base bag and then zip the throw across the diamond for a 5-3 double play. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left for the Rockies. We'll play to the 4th inning with the Phillies up 1-0.
Stick with 1 game today. It is craziness ensuing between the D-backs and Giants. Yeah, that's Lopez face planting out of the dugout. How about this? Watch this play. Jake Lamb over there at third base. I got it. No, that's going to hit right off the shoulder. Take another look. Never saw it. That's got to hurt. But we're not done. Same game. Brandon Drury into the mound, into the bullpen mound in left field. Watch how hard he hits here. Bam. That is a face plant as well. This might be the coolest one of the day. This is Jake Peavy on the mound. The ball comes back from Buster Posey. He's not even looking. Take another look. It hits his shoulder, and it goes right into his glove. Yeah, all in one game. And then, you know what, not get the fans involved. Foul ball into the stands. I got this, no problem. And that's an explosion. That is your T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball today. Everybody getting involved in San Francisco.
It's like they threw a water balloon at her.
Well, the last one was the most expensive of the day.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you know the ball that hit Lamb in the shoulder, I'm so glad he had his glasses on his hat.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, it probably didn't help him.
That's
so
all.
much.
The amazing thing is that is all, as Murph said,
Today.
in one game.
Yeah, one day in San Francisco. There you go. You never know what you're going to see when you come to the ballpark.
Here's the throw to the mound again. Buster Posey did not call bank, but we'll take it anyway. Posey's yelling for Peavy to turn around. Peavy doesn't miss a beat.
Unbelievable.
There are different shots of the hitter, of the umpire, and their face
Reactions.
as the ball's going back at Peavy, and he's not realizing it's there. Priceless. Tommy Joseph is the batter. He homered his first time up. Well, Murph, thanks for making everybody laugh.
That's why I'm here. Get told that more often than not.
Back to the screen. Tommy Joseph is now 5th in the league in home runs for rookies. Story leads the way with 21. He's 7th in RBIs. Story leads the way with 57. 6th in extra base hits. Story leads with 44. That one's out toward right field. Over toward the pole. Doesn't have the distance. It is off the top of the wall. And Tommy Joseph will pull into second base with a leadoff double.
And that's amazing how deep it sets you up for the next play. Believe it or not, a lot of times outfielders will do that, get that circulation going in the shoulder. Now if you get another fly ball, you're loose, you can let it go again.
Maybe Tommy Joseph debate whether he's going to run on him too.
And Juan as well.
Infield is in. Carlos Ruiz, the batter. He hit one sharply to third his first time up. 1 ball, no strikes.
Still always remember the story about Chooch in 09. Playoffs, we got snowed out here. It's the first time you ever saw snow.
That still is remarkable to me. I mean, they don't have snow in Panama, we know that, but that he wasn't around even during the offseason when we had snow in Philadelphia. It was really cold then. Pulled toward third, foul, and it's 1-2. Off the hands and out of play.
Charlie Blackmon has not moved from that spot for the last 4 hitters.
To the right side, a base hit for Carlos Ruiz. That'll score Tommy Joseph. That's understanding what the pitcher's going to throw, where he's going to throw it, and just punching it through the hole.
The 2 at-bats that Chooch has had today, nice easy swings. Not over swinging, not over striding. Nice job going with that pitch away. Even as his first at-bat, the hard ground ball to third, he didn't take a huge swing. He knows his playing time is cut way down, so he needs to make it easy to get to the ball as well by swinging.
Another one through the hole. This one to the left side for Cesar Hernandez, his second hit.
2 pitches, 2 hits.
And now the Phillies have 1 out with runners on first and second for Tyler Goodell. We'll update Cesar's numbers over his last 11, but he's now over 500 during that time. With an OPS, which is on base percentage and slugging percentage combined, of over 1,000. It's nearly 1,100.
And that's not because of walks.
Nope. Nope.
Cesar doesn't walk very often.
No, that would probably even pump it up more because his on-base percentage would slip a little higher. Steve Foster, the pitching coach, out to the mound to talk to his young left-hander. Tyler Goodell struck out his first time up, and he lines that one to center field. Blackmon goes back to make the catch. The throw goes to second, and Carlos slides in safely at third. So the force is still in order at second base, but the Phillies have runners on first and third with 2 outs. Jared Eichhoff is coming up. Speed pitch, and it's 0-2. Mention that Anderson is out of the University of Oregon. Oregon lost its baseball program for a handful of years, and he is the first guy to reach the major leagues since they reinstated the program. All-time strikeout leader in their program's history, among the top 3 in wins. Lead off first and third. Mark Reynolds is going to go over and talk with Anderson. You think he's going to tell him not to worry about the base runner at first base?
Yeah, it's
pitcher's up.
Well, it's interesting to see. I mean, got 2 strikes on the pitcher. Last thing you want to do is throw another ball to first base and throw it away.
which he's already done once tonight.
Hits his changeup to right field.
Strikes out. The sign is retired, but the Phillies do get a run on the base hit by Carlos Ruiz. We'll move to the bottom of the fourth, 2-0 Phils. At Toyota.com to find your RAV4 today. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go Phils. Home half of the fourth inning. Phillies lead at 2-0. 2 runs on 6 hits. Jared Eichhoff is just finishing up his warm-up tosses. Gives us a chance to remind you that the Phillies Baseball Academy is open for business for boys and girls age 6 to 14. There's baseball and softball camps. You get a trip to Citizens Bank Park, a Phillies Baseball Academy uniform. There still are many weeks to choose from. Plus, don't forget there's a camper reunion night at a Phillies game. 610-520-3400 or go to the community section at Phillies.com. Last night, a sold-out crowd watched the Phillies win it. And tonight, they're waiting for fireworks as the Phillies lead it 2-0 here in the fourth. Last night, the Rockies left 9 men in scoring position. And they are still winless when trailing after 7 innings.
That is incredible.
Breaking ball. Did he go? Arenado did, according to Jerry Meals. That's 0-1.
Seemed like in 2010, 2011 or 2010 when I was in San Diego, it seemed like they walked us off every game. Not by 4 or 5, didn't matter.
I used to feel that way when the Phillies would come in here. 1-1 pitch. Hit toward third, scooped up by Maikel Franco, and 1 out. If your employees are on the road as much as the Phillies are, protect them with Independence Blue Cross. They're part of a national system of Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans that cover more than 100 million members across the country. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com.
You know, so far Jared Eichhoff's thrown 29 fastballs, 19 strikes. But how about these numbers? 13 sliders, 11 for strikes, 2 curveballs, both strikes, both outs, ground balls, and 2 changeups, 1 for a strike and 1 for a ball.
Yeah, so far it's been a very nice game plan.
And 8 of 13 for first pitch strikes.
He's got a solid ratio of balls to strikes. There's a curveball, and it's 1-1. Big curveball.
Backdoor curveball. 3 for 3.
Trying to come back with a slider. He also has 6 outs tonight on ground balls. His ground ball percentage, which is so important for a pitcher, is up from last year. Now, obviously, last year was a very small window where we could gauge whether it's a fly ball pitcher, ground ball pitcher. He was at 37% ground balls last year. This year, it's close to 44%. 2-2 pitch. And just a bit inside, 3-2.
Wait till he gets the confidence in throwing that changeup a lot more and get a lot more weak ground balls.
Out to right center field. Paredes back toward the wall, looking for the wall, reaches up and makes the catch. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he got that toward the end of the bat, and it looked like it was just another routine fly ball, and it just kept on going.
No, you're correct. He ended up towards the end of the bat, and he was way out in front of it. He didn't have anything below his lower half to drive that ball. And like you said, the ball kept on carrying and carrying. A nice job of finding the wall, timing it.
I don't think that would have been a home run with the old fence. It would have been a similar play. And now Trevor Story. Curveball in there, 0-1, 4 for 4.
Do you like the fence in right center?
I don't mind it.
No, I don't mind it.
I don't think it looks bad. I think that they anticipated the numbers would be higher. Murphy said it the other day. There's only been 11 balls that have hit it. That would have been home runs last year.
Well, that one there is the important one. I'm so glad that was put up there.
0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back sliders. And Story is down on strikes. It's the second 1-2-3 inning of the night for Jared Eichhoff. So the Rockies go down in order. We've played 4. We'll head to the 5th inning. Phillies up 2-0. Marshall Harris sits down with GM Matt Klentak in this week's edition of Phillies Clubhouse. Klentak shares his timeline for both the team's top prospects, such as J.P. Crawford and Nick Williams. Watch Phillies Clubhouse Monday at 6:30 only on CSN. Peter Borges is the batter, and he takes off the outside corner. By the way, speaking of the Phillies prospects, I was texting back and forth with Corey Seidman today from CSNPhilly.com. He did a really good synopsis of the Phillies prospects on the website if you want to check it out. As Borges hits it foul down the right field line, kind of lays out some of the obviously positives and some of the things that the prospects have to work on. You know, whether it be Nick Williams walking a little bit more, or Alfaro taking more pitches to work the count and eventually walk, which he is doing. Or Rhys Hoskins and Dylan Cousins cutting down on the strikeouts. Things like that. 1-1 pitch to Borges. Out front of an off-speed pitch, 1-2.
Which I understand. I mean, there is things that the prospects have to work on. But don't remember, there's a lot of Major League ball players that have to work on a lot of things as well.
Very true. And the article talks about a lot of the positives that these guys have put together, too. Broken bat, one hopper out towards Story. And he throws out Borges, who is 0 for 3. We haven't said that often recently. And here's Freddie Galvis. Freddie Galvis takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Galvis singled his last time up and was left out at second base. That was in the 3rd. 7 for his last 13. And it's 2-1. The Phillies tonight are going for their 7th victory here in July. Pittsburgh Pirates in the National League have the best record in July. They're 7-1 and leading the Cubs 12-6 right now in the 6th inning of their ball game. The Mets and the Phillies each with 6-2 records here in July. Mets are currently trailing the Nationals 6-1 in the 8th inning. Galvis shows bunt again, and it's a strike. 2-2. The team that is shocking, you can look at the win-loss positives in July. The team that is shocking are the Cubs. They're 1-7 in July with a team ERA going into tonight's game of 7.07.
They've hit a wall, which you knew they would.
But they still have a very comfortable lead.
Right.
Even though the Pirates have been good, they're still 7.5 back.
Yeah, but it's going to be 6.5 after tonight.
Well, that's true. 12 runs scored against the Cubs staff tonight. That's going to raise the ERA over 8. Well, Freddie went fishing on the fastball. 4 in a row retired by Anderson. Yeah, that's 5 strikeouts for him.
Well, this is where you know you're getting a fastball and you're swinging right now. As soon as it leaves the hand, you see the fastball. I always hated hitting 3-2.
Did you really?
Well, early in my career I did, and later on in my career I decided to say, okay, 3-2. Let's take the same approach as 2-2. You might see an off-speed pitch.
And did that work?
It helped out a little bit. I don't know my numbers hitting 3-2, but you just don't think as much. you relax a little bit when you take the approach of 2-2, because a lot of times you're just saying, well, it's you're guaranteed a fastball in this situation. You just gear up for it and you see what happens when you gear up for a fastball.
How about that quick pitch? That's the first time we've seen him do that tonight. There was no windup.
Happened so quick I didn't even notice it.
Off the end of the bat, up the third baseline. Arenado bare hands, throws low, off the glove of Reynolds. Franco will be aboard. It's going to wind up being the second error of the year for Arenado. Thought there was a chance he was going to get one last night, but they gave it to his catcher.
Shows you how much confidence he has having that bare hand. A lot of guys know that the base runner's not running real quick. What does it tell you? Should be a base hit.
It is a base hit. You're right, because it was not an easy play because he had a bare hand. He had time. The sun is glaring in the eyes of Mark Reynolds. I mean, look at that.
That's what he sees right there.
This is our camera going through the sun. Goodbye. It's like an eclipse.
But a lot of people would say that he already made the tough play with the bare hand.
You're right. You separate it.
Yeah.
That's the first part, and official scorers do that. They do. I've had an official score a lot of games in the minor leagues. And sometimes that's the way you're taught, is to separate the play. One ball, one strike to Tommy Joseph. Outside, 2-1. Well, we talked about it before. Tommy Joseph finds himself on the leaderboard with the National League rookies. The race for the Rookie of the Year is going to be interesting because Story has great numbers. Corey Seager has great numbers from the Dodgers. 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's the home run for Tommy Joseph his last time.
This is a slider that didn't slider. The cutter just stayed inside. We saw that quick bat throughout the year. It's another deep fly ball to left field. Be interesting to see, break down the numbers, home runs per at bat. I would do it if I could get Wi-Fi right now. But his numbers have to be just as good as anyone else's, any rookies.
Well, think about the amount of games he's played so far compared to those other guys. You're right. They've played a full season. He has not. He had 7 home runs down in the minor leagues, so he has 18 combined professionally. Off the hands, foul.
Tommy Joseph has come in tonight. He's at 149 at bats, 11 home runs. Story came in tonight with 194 at bats and 21 home runs.
Runner goes. That one's blooped out to right center field. Franco will go on to third base. And Tommy Joseph tonight has a single, a double, and a home run. So he's 3 for 3.
Wasn't pretty, but he will take it. Fastball inside. Muscles it out to left. Shallow right, sorry.
And another trip to the mound by Steve Foster, the pitching coach. Phillies now with 7 hits. Actually, it's 8 hits for the Phillies. They haven't changed the board up there.
Bring him home, buddy. He needs beef.
Runners lead off first and third. Paredes is 0 for 2. He's flying to right. He's flying to center field. Off speed pitch. It's 0-1. That has been an effective pitch for him tonight.
Yeah, he's locked the changeup in. First couple innings, he was fighting it, missing wide to the right-handed hitters. But he has calmed down and started to get a lot of swing and misses.
Runners lead off. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
This might be his last hitter.
I was going to say the Rockies are going to get into their bullpen pretty early. Chad Qualls is warming up. Chopper back off the mound, or over the mound. Story will just take it to the second base bag. And Tyler Anderson able to work out of a jam here in the 5th inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Phillies still nursing a 2-run lead.
Michael Franco makes a nice play. This was here. LeMahieu hits a ground ball on an 0-2 pitch. Nice easy 5-3 double play, and then showing his range to his left. And that'll hit that ground ball there. We're showing some range, strong arm. That's your Hyundai defensive play of the game. Brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
I should say they're prevailing in our series because we saw Arenado the other night. Franco showing off the leather here tonight. Phillies lead it 2-0. Daniel Descalso will lead it off here in the bottom of the 5th. Phillies have had a lot of opportunities to add some runs, but a lot of their rallies have been with 2 outs. Cesar Hernandez up with it. And a quick out here in the 5th. And Mark Reynolds flying out to right field his first time up. Batting here for the 2nd time. There's so many new statistics that are out there. One of the stats that is out there is the percentage of balls hit that are termed soft contact. And 21% of the balls hit that Jerad Eickhoff has thrown that have been put in play are considered soft contact plays. Now that's 18th in all of baseball. Just means that the opposition isn't squaring him up. Out to left center field, Peter Borges.
So that would be considered a soft out?
From what I gather,
because he got jammed.
Yeah, and a lot of it is evaluated by different people that are watching the games and putting these numbers together. But there's the new stats, batting average and balls in play. The soft contact leads to that number.
Right.
That's becoming an important number in the world of sabermetrics and in baseball as a whole. Eickhoff, I don't think, has pitched enough to establish those numbers. The batting average, balls in play. Probably needs a few more games. Walters grounded out to 3rd his first time up. He tried to bunt his way on. Curveball, 1-1.
Now, you said that's only for outs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get all these numbers sometime.
One and two. Tanner Roark of the Nationals is first as far as soft outs go.
Makes sense. Very good changeup. A lot of hitters out in front, either hitting weak fly balls or weak ground balls.
Curveball served into left field. That'll drop for a base hit. And Anderson looks back to the dugout. They're going to let him bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. He picked up a base hit, his first major league hit, his last time up. Down the right field line. That ball's well hit. It is gone. Anderson in his 2nd major league hit has his first major league home run, and he just tied this ball game up. Sometimes the game of baseball is a wacky world. He came in 0 for 10 with 5 strikeouts, and he's 2 for 2. His first major league hit and his first major league home run. That's crazy.
So the location's supposed to be away. Even the pitchers have that down in that oh-no zone.
First home run for a Rockies pitcher this year. As Blackman takes it side.
A slider.
Yeah, it just didn't have any bite to it.
Nice swing.
Well, you said that his last time up before his base hit. He had a nice swing. Tommy Joseph scoops that one up. Now that'll do it for the Rockies here in the 5th inning. But Tyler Anderson has tied it up with his first major league home run. Now it's time to try to get the baseball. being selected to the Major League All-Star game for the first time. Just over a year ago, Odubel was hoping to make the Phillies opening day roster. Now he has been added to a roster of the best players in all of baseball. By far the most consistent Philly at the plate this season, Herrera continues to bat around 300 with power and production. His quick ascent from the Rule 5 draft to the Midsummer Classic is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, reminder, Odubel Herrera's All-Star jersey and T-shirt jersey are for sale at the Majestic Clubhouse store. You can stop by anytime. Go to Phillies.com or call 877-GO-PHILS. Supplies are limited. They actually presented the Rockies representatives with their All-Star jerseys today and acknowledged the fact that Odubel Herrera was an All-Star this year. Well, last home run by a pitcher, Kyle Kendrick, 2015 for the Rockies. Hit one against the Padres. I have to admit, I didn't think he was going to bat there. I thought they were going to, based on last night, go to the bullpen. Just because they lifted their starters, you know, just above 90 pitches, and both of those guys were dealing. But he got a chance to bat, and it paid off.
Well, I agree. I thought he was going to hit and then be done.
Inside, 2-1. He may be done if he doesn't get Carlos Ruiz here. Off the hands and caught by Reynolds at first. One out here in the top of the 6th. Well, yeah, that's a tough one to swallow when the opposing pitcher hits a home run to tie the game up. Eichhoff 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. Anderson 5 1/3, 8 hits. Phillies have left 6 so far.
31 pitches more. I think my math's right there.
Over to third. Anderson lets it go. Arenado throws it wide, and he is now, well, we'll wait and see. They could score that a base hit. We've been wrong twice in the series.
Cesar Hernandez hitting and running, and they're about to give it a knock.
Yep, they have scored it a base hit.
Again coming in, barehanding a ball. Good grip.
Good throw at him.
Good throw at him.
For the second time today. Seventh 3-hit game of the year. And Goodell 0 for 2. Struck out, flied out.
You know, I'm not complaining. I love seeing the guys get knocked, some base hits. That could be 3 errors in 2 games.
I would agree with that.
That play last night with the stolen base at third base.
Yeah, and that throw was a little high, but if Arenado's a Gold Glover, to me, it's not there's not a huge range of difficulty for him to make that catch. Back to the box. Anderson's got it. Throws high to second. They get 1, and that's all they'll get. So 1-6 on the put out at second base. Pitcher to short. Come on, Jared, return the favor right here.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Right here.
When's the last time that ever happened?
That would have Elias spinning to try to figure it out. They have swung at ball one. And it's 0-2. Jared's pitched well here tonight. He's flied to left and struck out at the plate. Goodell leads off first. And out of play. It remains 0-2. Swing and a miss. You got him in back-to-back at-bats with that changeup. No runs, one hit, one man left. Anderson's probably done, but he'll leave with the game tied at 2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Last of the 6th inning. We're even at 2. Phillies have 9 hits. The Rockies have 5 hits. 2 of those hits have come for the pitcher. Time for our timeless moment. Here's Greg Murphy.
All right, thanks, Don. Presented by Coors Banquet, and it's on this date, July 9th, 1957. Lefty Curt Simmons is the starting pitcher in the All-Star game at St. Louis. It is the 7th time in 8 years in which a Phillies pitcher started the game. Robin Roberts did it 5 times. Simmons did it twice. Pretty good run for the Philadelphia Hurlers during that time.
Well, it's an impressive run, 7 of 8, and 6 straight games, All-Star games, that the Phillies starting pitcher or a Phillies pitcher started for the National League. 6 consecutive games. That is a record. In fact, the Phillies hold the record. Robin Roberts 50 to 51, Curt Simmons 52, and then Robin 53, 54, and 55. Phillies also are among the leaders in pitchers who have started an All-Star game. Yankees are number 1. The Phillies have had 11 pitchers start an All-Star game, which is 3rd, tied for 3rd, behind the Yankees and the Dodgers. No balls and 2 strikes to DJ LeMahieu. Hits it back toward the middle, a base hit. And that is his second hit of the night. And he's aboard to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. And Murph, obviously we're at that point, as you just mentioned, timeless moment-wise, where there have been all-star games on this date, including one for the cat that was in the pre- and post-game chair tonight.
You're absolutely right. Ricky Pitalico celebrating his 20th anniversary. That all-star game, of course, was at Veterans Stadium when he was named an all-star back in 1996. I had a chance to talk to Ricky earlier in the day, and I asked him what was his memory of that game, and he said, honestly, it was the crowd. Packed house at Veterans Stadium. He said the energy there, it was just absolutely unbelievable. You know, he's a young player at the time, and he said he was just in awe of the entire spectacle that was the all-star game. You know, listening to him talk about it, and I've talked to him about it before, it's so cool to hear, even 20 years later, the excitement in his voice when talking about it. A once-in-a-lifetime moment at Veterans Stadium.
That must have been a great moment. Ricky had a lot of saves before the all-star break that year. In fact, he's part of that list, which Genmar Gomez is second on for most saves before the all-star break in Phillies history. Down the left field line. Now that's a fair ball going to the corner on one hop. LeMahieu can run. He's on his way to third. He'll stop there. And the Rockies now have second and third with nobody out here in the 6th inning.
Fastball supposed to be down and in. Comes up in the zone. Back-to-back knocks, base hits where the ball has been getting up a little bit in the zone. LeMahieu hit the slider back up the middle for a base hit that was elevated slider a little bit, just like his first at bat.
Well, the Phillies will no doubt play the infield back with nobody out and Carlos Gonzalez up. Let's see if Jared can get back to where he was those first 4 innings. He's only at 71 pitches. He had the Rockies off balance in the first 4 innings of the game. Broken back ground ball right side. Cesar charges. Throws out Gonzalez. A run scores. Colorado takes the lead. And it's 3-2 Rockies.
Probably see the infield come in today, or this time.
Arenado's over at third base. RBI 53 for Carlos Gonzalez. Eichhoff has been able to get Story twice tonight on strikeouts. That's right, the infield is in for Story. Takes a curveball and it's 0-1. That's a good pitch. Sort of get me over curveball. Hit by a pitch. It looked like it hit him right in the elbow pad. And that puts runners on first and third. With one down, and Descalso's coming up.
You're right, hit him right in the elbow guard. The last thing you want to do, the man on third base, is let him get his arms extended. Trying to get inside to break that bat or getting a jam shot.
That ball that hit the elbow guard was still lingering in foul territory. Descalso's grounded out to second base twice. The Phillies will set up to try to turn 2. He does run well. Scalzo getting a chance to play left field for the second straight day. It's the first time he's playing the outfield for the Rockies. He's been working with Eric Young over the last couple weeks, shagging, getting angles down. And Walt Weiss said after yesterday's ballgame, he said, listen, I want to get a left-handed bat in the lineup. With Gerardo Parra on the DL, we've had to be a little more creative. So Eric Young has been working the last couple weeks to try to get him to understand how to track fly balls in this big outfield. And they were happy with the way he played last night. But you did see him leave after 6 innings.
Interested to have EY teaching him how to play the outfield, who strictly a second baseman.
Yeah. His son played a little bit of the outfield. I think Stu Cold had a little hand in it as well. He was the third base coach. I don't think Pete really wanted him to throw over to first base there. Inside, 2-1.
But a great time if you had the confidence in his changeup. Chooch wants a fastball inside, but 2-1 hitters count. Throw a changeup.
Popped him up. Tommy Joseph is over. It's going to be out of play. And that evens things up at 2-2.
You know, you get in that situation where a hitter, first and third, anxious, he wants to try to drive the ball in the outfield. He's going to attack the baseball and go at it, you know, like he just did on a fastball. If you could have that confidence on that changeup and knowing that he can start at knee high and just be able to dip just below the zone. Just another great pitch for a 4-6-3 double play.
Check swing. Did he go? No, says the third base umpire. Reynolds is on deck. Good to see Story moving here, Matt, you think?
I would think so. 3-2 should be a pretty good pitch to hit.
He does not go. And the pitch is lined down the right field line. Foul.
Surprising. Middle of the plate. We talked about it in the open about him having that good control of having the 4 corners of that plate, or that square that you put out in front of home plate. He was so good in it for what, 4 innings?
Yep. Story goes, pitches outside, ball 4. And that loads up the bases. Almost looks like he's tiring a little bit, even though he's at 81 pitches.
Yeah, he slipped on that pitch.
Team Buchanan on the horn. Somebody's going to get up and start loosening. With the bases loaded and 1 out, Mark Reynolds is 0 for 2. He'll be the batter. This summer's office blockbuster is here. Hahn's new Solve Chair, your office's answer to versatility and customized comfort, delivered to you for free on one of W.B. Mason's world famous trucks. Hahn and W.B. Mason, a pair of heavy hitters that truly deliver. Severino Gonzalez starts to throw in the pen.
Well, a tough spot for the young right-hander, who's allowed 3 runs in the last 2 innings, and now has Reynolds, who flat out twice, lays off the first pitch. Reynolds hit it to a double play in last night's ball game. That was a big double play,
especially versus Hector Neris, who was having a hard time finding the strike zone, versus Reynolds last night.
Arenado's at third base, Story's at second base, and Descalso is around at first. A run is in. First 3-ball count of the night for Jared Eichhoff.
What a great time to swing right here. 3-0.
First 3-0 count, I should say. And it's at the knees. It's 3-1.
I didn't do it very often, but I absolutely love bases loaded 3-0.
First 3-0 count, second 3-ball count in a row. 3 balls and 1 strike to Reynolds. Infield a double play depth. Outside ball 4. And he just forced in a run. 4-2, Rockies on top. Boy, that is very unlike Jared Eichhoff. Will be the batter, and the bases remain loaded. Matt, the last 3 hitters hit batter, walk, and walk.
Yep.
Rockies have scored 2 runs. They have 2 hits in this inning. And Walters takes low. Beautiful sky. It's not a beautiful bottom of the 6th, though. Amazing how this has changed for Eichhoff. What if that home run, if that rattled him a little bit? Figure he's able to push that aside.
Yeah, I mean, the home run was hit. Made a good pitch to Blackman, who hit a weak ground ball to third. But then all of a sudden, you mentioned that we've had a slider double hit by a pitch and 2 walks.
Ground ball inside the first base bag down the right field line. This is going to clear the bases. 2 are in. Reynolds is being waved home. Walters on his way to third. And he's there with his first triple. 7-2 Rockies. Man, has the tide changed in this game.
Fastball supposed to be away. Looks like it was inside, just out of the reach of Tommy Joseph at first base. But down that corner, run forever.
And that's going to be it for Eichhoff. Well, he was cruising through 4 innings. And Walter's reaction, total opposite of Jarrett. So his night is done. He's responsible for the runner over at third. 7 runs in the last 2 innings for Colorado. Jared Eichhoff has been charged with 8 hits and 7 runs so far. His line is not complete yet because Walters is over at third base. Through 4 innings, he had allowed 3 hits and didn't walk anybody. The walks hurt in this inning. The hit by pitch hurt. Severino Gonzalez will take over. He's 0-1, an ERA of 4.22. And Brandon Barnes will pitch hit, and then most likely stay in the game to play left field. There's Walters over at third. The infield is in with 1 man down. And they bunt. They've got him caught, and the ball hits the runner. Michael Franco was going down the line thinking it was a squeeze, and he got his feet tangled up and slipped down.
Phillies caught a break there by hitting the runner in the back.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Actually, you know what? I mean, see how far he was inside the line running back to the bag?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that be the same rule? First base towards third.
It's a good question.
Luckily he did.
You do not see this every day. That's a hawk. It planted itself up in the upper deck and said, you know what? I'm out of here. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Nope, he's still back. He's still in center field.
Oh, no, he's around.
Yeah.
A beautiful bird. He keeps going. I need some freedom here. There's a nest that's above the scoreboard here at Coors Field. Had a play down the right field line. He's either looking for something to eat or he's looking for his nest. Climb out there, Matt. See if you can get him.
I'm good.
And a liner to left field. That'll be in for a base hit. Walters will score. It goes to the corner. Barnes to second base. And he'll stop there. 8-2, Rockies on top. Man, they have just blown the doors off this 6th inning.
A little different than last night when they couldn't get that big knock.
You're right.
Tonight they've got many this inning. This is a fastball. Nice easy swing. Hits that ball to left field.
8-2, Rockies on top. They've now matched the Phillies in hits, and Blackman is the 9th man to bat in this inning. 1 for 3. Backhanded play by Carlos. Helped out his countryman.
It is amazing, though, when you give free passes in this ballpark, how they come back and haunt you.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. We talked about it in Game 1 also. You've got to be careful. You just can't give the Rockies, or the opposition for that matter, if you're the Rockies, can't give them a little bit of slack. 1 ball, 1 strike to Blackman with a runner at second. Out to center field. Borges ventures back. Makes the catch. Tagging from second is Barnes, and he'll go to third. And the guy that started this whole thing, DJ LeMahieu, will bat for the 2nd time in the inning. LeMahieu scored on the first out of this inning, and that was the ground ball out by Gonzalez. So even with that out, he was productive. Fastball in there. It's 0-1.
Well, we always used to talk about the leadoff walk. It's just as bad as a 0-2 base hit, and that's what happened with LeMahieu leading off this inning.
Yeah, he got a slider for the 2nd time. Kept the bat through the zone. Oh, 2 pitch. Runs upstairs, 1-2. My eyes are telling me that this stadium, more than any other stadium, they've got to put the netting around, because there have been some balls, some baseballs that have just been smoked into the crowd in this series. Strike 3 called, and LeMahieu's down looking. He is the 10th man to bat in this inning, and the inning is finally over. A 6-run inning for the Rockies. They'll lead it 8-2 as we go to the 7th. the dealers game summary. A 6-run, 4-hit, 6th inning for the Rockies has busted this game wide open. It's 8-2 as we go to the 7th. Jared Eichhoff, 5 1/3, 8 hits and 8 earned runs. You want to talk about a tale of 2 different outings for him. Tyler Anderson, he was working in and out of trouble most of the night, but he's on the winning side right now. Barnes stays in the ballgame to play left field, and Jordan Lyles will take over out on the mound. 2-2, a 7.43 ERA. Severino Gonzalez got the last out. Eichhoff is still sitting watching. First pitch to Peter Borges is taken outside.
Jordan Lyles, a 4-pitch pitcher. Fastball 91 to 94. Curveball change and a cut fastball / slider.
Broke a bat looper out toward left. Barnes comes running in. It's going to drop. And Peter Borges has another hit, his 4th in this series.
And 3 broken bats today.
Yeah. And Freddie Galvis is now coming up. Galvis to the right side. That could be 2. LeMahieu to second for 1. And it is a 4-6-3 double play. Time now for our minor league report, brought to you by Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank, the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. Cam Perkins helped Lehigh Valley defeat Buffalo 9-1. 2 for 4 with a home run. Jake Fox, you were pointing out some of his numbers for the veteran. Last night, a 2-run single. Reading lost to Bowie 7-2. Clearwater won. And the Blue Claws swept a doubleheader. And won game 2 in 12 innings. Here's Maikel Franco with 2 outs. Franco the opposite way. Gonzalez settles under it. Well, that was the easiest inning of the night for either team. Phillies go down quietly to 5-pitch inning. No runs, 1 hit, and a double play. Time to stretch. It's 8-2. Rockies on top of the Phillies. The Hawk hasn't moved, if you wanted to know about that from an update standpoint. Just sitting there over the Spanish broadcast booth. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
There's Nolan Arenado. And he hits one the opposite way. On the run is Paredes toward the corner, and he can't get it. And Arenado is going to go to third on this one. Paredes better hurry up and get it in. He does. Arenado stops at third base. That'll be scored at triple. But it was certainly a ball that could have been and probably should have been caught. He did have a long way to go for it.
No, but he pulled up right there thinking that he was there. You know, you're supposed to, the high fly ball, you're supposed to run to a spot. And that little hesitation as he was going after it caused him to miss it by the length of a glove.
So runner at third, and here's Gonzalez, who had an RBI in the 6th inning on a ground out. Phillies will play the infield in halfway, and now they creep in more. Off the third base line, Franco will give it a peek and out of play. Out to shallow left. Galvis is there. One out. Here's Trevor Story. Told you a little bit of the story last night about Trevor Story. He went to spring training. The Rockies didn't know who was going to play shortstop. They had every intention of having Jose Reyes be their shortstop. Until he was arrested during the offseason and then eventually suspended by Major League Baseball. Story in the spring hit .340 with 6 home runs. And they said that he played his position defensively better than they anticipated. So Walt Weiss, final day of March, called him into the office. Farm director was there. He thought he was being sent down to AAA and told thanks for a great spring. You're close. Work on this, that, and the other thing.
Instead,
he was told to sit down and watch some video on Zach Greinke.
What number do you want to wear this year?
Yeah.
Then had an amazing first month.
17 extra base hits in the month of April. Now, like any hitter, even though his numbers are excellent, he has had a hiccup or two. Part of that is that he was hit by a pitch and bruised his hand. He said he's okay now. Seen a few of his swings in the series. He looks like he's okay.
You know, I like how he uses his lower foot. He lifts that front foot up and he kind of guides him to where the pitch is going to be located at. And he lands on the front foot very soft. I was watching him take batting practice today really close, and it was just it's tough to teach. That's what it is. But that's his timing.
Ryan Raybird is in the on-deck circle. Swing and a miss. Severino picks up his second strikeout. 2 outs here at the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, Dan, our high third camera operator, had a little friend come up. I think Dan looked a little concerned about that.
Well, yeah, and I won't say what you said, but he said that he got scared a little bit.
Maybe he wasn't as concerned as I thought. Well, Dan, we can't wait to see what that photo looks like. Here's Dan's shot on the left. Good riddance. Oh boy, Dan. Dan's got to list his Facebook and Twitter account so folks can check out the picture of the bird. Jordan Lyles will get a chance to bat in front of the sellout crowd of 48,105. 1-2. And a strike 3 called. Severino works around the leadoff triple, leaves one over third. We'll head to the 8th inning. The Phillies down by 6. And we've got pictures of all kinds of birds and camera guys. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buy at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By McDonald's. Stop by McDonald's today and enjoy the new McPick 2 for $2.50 menu. I'm loving it. And buy your local Ford stores. Along with Matt Stairs, Greg Murphy, the unnamed Hawk. Have they named the Hawk anything? We're getting no's in the booth. Tommy Joseph a triple away from the cycle tonight. As Lyles delivers down low, 1-0. It's a great sign that Tommy is 4 for his last 4. Homered, doubled, and singled in this game. His average up to 253. Over to third, foul. I would think down the right field line, Matt.
Left center.
Or left center field, yeah.
Right field line, no, because Gonzalez has too much speed.
And he's playing deep, too.
Yeah. Plus, he has a good arm.
So left center.
Left center.
Or through the hole on the left side and at least get a base hit for your 4th hit of the night. Time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, Matt, the question is, which rookie made the All-Star game in the team's inaugural season in 1993? Which Rocky?
Not rookie. Andres Galarraga.
I need my reading
the
glasses.
Grande Gato.
It is Andres Galarraga.
Then I thought for a second I was wrong. I'm like, wait now.
No, I just.
That's you.
The C looked like an O. As I pull it away from me farther, it looks like a C. As it comes closer, it looks like an O. Hawks back. Murph, it is true what they say.
The Hawk will never die.
That's right. It's searching for something. Paredes breaks his bat. It's a base hit down the right field line. Joseph on his way to third. Paredes on his way to second. They'll hold Joseph at third base. Back-to-back hits to begin the 8th. A double for Paredes. His 5th in a Phillies uniform.
One never knows. You're never out of this ballpark. Another broken bat, but he'll take this as a base hit. Just double, have a little second and third. A lot of ballparks, 8-2, you're thinking, wow, it's going to be tough.
Not this one.
No.
I meant to ask you this before about Ruiz. He's not in as much of a crouch at the plate with his stance, more straight up and down.
Yeah, and he's trying to control his swing a little more. When he gets down in his crouch, he feels like he's coming off that back leg, but his timing wise is not there. So now he's just kind of trying to stand up there and be relaxed and basically just use his hands and his forearms by swinging. You know, we're usually seeing Chooch in that lower stance.
Yes.
And that big swing, finish high with 2 hands. Now it's almost like he's trying to play Pepper.
Down and away, 1-2. Bob McClure on the horn. Phillies have a warm-up action in the pen. David Hernandez. One ball, 2 strikes to Ruiz. Ground ball to the right side. That'll get a run home and the runner over to third. Carlos will get an RBI out of it, his 2nd of the night. And it's now an 8-3 ball game. Tommy Joseph has scored 3 runs tonight.
That's a pretty good game right there. Home run, double, 2 singles, 3 runs scored.
He's got his average back up to 258. Well, there's another run out there right now, and Hernandez is 3 for 3. He's thinking fastball, and he gets a changeup, and it's 0-1. This play by Walters with Paredes over third. Walters is a converted shortstop. In fact, he was a shortstop in the Indians organization, and he never caught up until about 2.5 years ago. Terry Francona saw him one time in spring training, walked past him and said to him, "Son, you look like a catcher to me." And Walters didn't know how to take it because he had played second base and shortstop throughout his time with the Indians. Well, the Indians converted him to a catcher, and the Rockies picked him up off waivers, and now he's in the big leagues. Inside 2-2. How about that, though? The manager of the big club sees him, and he's playing the infield when he sees him. "Son, I see you as a catcher." You know his legs are fresh.
Hard to argue when the manager told you that.
And a line drive caught by LeMahieu. Cesar, that's probably the hardest hit ball he's had tonight. And he has 3 hits. 2 outs. And Tyler Goodell is coming up.
Hawks having a little bit of trouble. That didn't brace him the way he thought it was going to brace him. Top of the tree was not as firm as he anticipated. Odubel Herrera out on deck. Over to first base. Reynolds will take it to the bag. And that'll do it for the Phillies here in the 8th inning. They do get a run on 2 hits. They leave one over in 3rd. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning. 8-3. Rockies on top of the Phillies. Monday, July 18th, the Phillies and the Miami Marlins will get together for a 4-game series. Remember, Aaron Nola is scheduled to start that Monday, July 18th game. Tickets can be purchased for that 4-game set by going to Phillies.com. Phillies fan group that came out to Denver. They've enjoyed themselves. They'll have one more day of games. They'll be tomorrow. Phillies and the Rockies. 2 o'clock local time, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Severino Gonzalez facing Mark Reynolds. Severino on a relief from Jared Eichhoff. Eichhoff went 5 of the 3rd. He allowed 7 hits, 8 earned runs. Actually allowed 8 hits, excuse me. Reynolds walked with the bases loaded his last time up. Severino thought he had him struck out, but Carlos could not hang on. Two pitch. Popped him up. Out to shallow right field. Paredes makes the catch and 1 away here in the 8th inning. And that'll bring Tony Walters to the plate. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, Tom. Well, I'm happy to report that we do have an update on Dan Williams and his photography. We remember the Hawk went to visit Dan up there, our high third camera. Well, in between innings, Dan ran the photo mat, and he was able to put that picture together. There it is.
Very
Photo
nice.
by Dan Williams. That's an excellent photo.
While operating the camera.
I think I see myself in there.
Hey, there's a little bit of a gray dot down there. Not because of your hair graying.
Well done.
Nice job there, Dan. Some natural lighting at your disposal. 2 outs as Walters is retired. You can friend Dan on Facebook and you can see the rest of his wildlife collection, I think. Brandon Barnes doubled home run. Rockies 8 and 9 hitters, 5 for 7 in this ball game with 6 RBIs. That's good, right?
It's including the pitcher.
That's including the pitcher.
The 2-run shot.
One ball and 1 strike as Barnes rips through that one.
Well, the big hit was Tony Walters' triple, bases loaded triple down the right field corner.
What on earth is Odubel doing? Out to right center field. Borges crosses over into the alley. And a 1-2-3 8th inning for Severino Gonzalez. I would think that Odubel's getting loose to do something. We'll find out when we come back at the top of the ninth. Time now for our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Back in the 5th inning. Slider inside to the pitcher, Tyler Anderson. It's his first major league home run and RBI number 1 and 2 of his career to tie the game at 2-2. That is your W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
You could point to a number of moments during this ball game as Odubel Herrera pinch hits and sends one out towards center field. Blackman will track it down and 1 away here in the 9th inning. You could point to many moments, including in that 6-run 6th inning. That seemed to shake Jared Eickhoff, that home run by the pitcher. I don't know if it was in his head after that, but as you pointed out, Matt, rightfully, he did get Blackman to ground out on an easy play to end the inning. So maybe it wasn't in his head as much as I thought.
And honestly, Tom, I would hope it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because you need to learn how to turn the page and forget about something that quick. I mean, you really do. I just thought in the 6th inning, 0-2 knock. Arrieta hit a double down left field line up in the zone.
Yeah, the LeMahieu base hit.
Yep.
That's the one you're talking about to start the inning. Borges is 1 for 4 in the game, 4 for 13 in the series.
And you notice if the game stays as is and finishes at 8-3, who gets his first major league win?
Yeah, Anderson.
Who kind of changed the outcome by hitting the home run. The team all of a sudden gets some energy.
And even though this is a 5-run game, and when Lyles came in, it was a 6-run game. If he gets the last 2 outs here, it is a save because it's 3 innings to finish off a win. Phillies with 12 hits tonight and 3 runs. There's Anderson. He gets the win. How about the night? 2 hits, first major league hit, first major league home run.
RBI at 1 and 2.
Yep. Struck out 6.
Run score.
He's gonna have a lot of baseballs to keep. You know, the thing about it too is that his major league debut, he went 6 1/3, allowed 6 hits and just 1 earned run, but didn't get the decision. Rockies wound up winning the ball game, but he didn't fare in the decision. That's not a bad major league debut. Swing and a miss. 2 outs. Phillies are down to their final out. Don't forget, after the ball game, Ricky Vitalico will give his take on tonight's game between the Phils and the Rockies. Talk about that 6-run 6th inning and the home run by the pitcher. That's only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. That's coming up after the game on CSN. Freddie Galvis, a fastball. Reminder that tomorrow it is a 4 p.m. Eastern time start. We will have the first half plays of the year. Galvis rips it down the right field line, foul. 0-2. A lot of good plays. I'm going to think Tyler Goodell's throw to end the game is the best. 0-2 pitch, ground ball right side, base hit for Freddie Galvis. His second hit of the night. So the inning will continue for the Phillies. It'll give Maikel Franco a chance to bat for the 5th time.
Another 2-hit night for Freddie Galvis.
Yeah, Freddie's putting together a nice series. He has 6 hits in 12 at bats. Franco 1 for 4. His average at 265. Galvis goes.
Ever since Freddie Galvis hit that game-winning home run in Philly, he's had what, 4 consecutive games of 2 hits.
Fly ball, shallow right center field. This is probably going to do it. Blackman is under it. He makes the catch, and Tyler Anderson picks up his first major league victory on a night in which he picked up his first major league hit, his first major league home run, as the Rockies win it 8-3. Because of all that, he is our Chevrolet player of the game. He is now 1-3 on the year, and the Rockies have taken 2 of the first 3 games in this series against the Phillies. 8-3 the final score. Phils lose it 5-5. They will look for the series split tomorrow afternoon to wrap up the first half of the season. We'll wrap things up here when we get back.
The weather is here.